There are some things that you just do not ask people. You don't ask a woman her age, and you don't ask a man about his salary, and you do not ask a mini painter about how many models they painted. But that is what one of my delightful friends asked in our group chat. How many miniatures have you painted this year? And after a far too brief calculation, my answer was pitiful. 29. I only painted 29 models throughout the entirety of 2024, and the majority of those were rushed for a tournament. Since September, I have painted one single model, Magnus, and that was for a charity stream, and I'd already done some of it, and I've still not done the base. I'm sure I could come up with a whole host of excuses. And so I will. I'm a busy person. I was doing other things. I had a full-time job. I'm tired. My ADHD something. But all of those excuses boil down to a very basic fundamental reason for my lack of painting. I just didn't feel like it. For me, Warhammer is more about the game than anything else. And in an evening after work or in my spare time, there was usually something else that occupied my time. When I do get around to doing some painting, I painted bursts. You kind of see that in the progress of my pile of shame. Every so often I'd paint for a while, then stop for a longer while. And during those painting spurts, I'd get a few models done. I find it very difficult to start new projects and then also find it very difficult to end them. Towards the end, I either get bored or frustrated, and then when I do finally finish those projects, I usually don't pick up painting again until I have a reason for it. And that reason is rarely because I actually just fancy doing some painting. It's also hard to fully quantify the number of models I've completed because a few of the models I've painted were half done already. For example, one of the models I completed this year was Chauncey, my Museless Vortex Beast, which was mostly completed in 2023. Either way, 29 models, however you look at it, is kind of pathetic for someone who has a channel which talks about Warhammer and mini painting. But don't get me wrong, I do actually like to paint my minis, especially because once they're painted, I can display them in my amazing mini case of Tabletop Stronghold. You fool, did you really think you'd escape the sponsor tab? I don't know what your problem is. You want me to advertise your Madcase 2.0 and MDF terrain with tabletopstronghold.com, and this seemed like the most efficient way. Look, maybe it isn't coherent enough to hear about the transporting minis safely and securely through the power of magnets, or how the adjustable trays can fit any mini of any size, and maybe it isn't very clear about the strong MDF design that can hold the weight of exactly one lifting wizard, and perhaps it isn't the best method of explaining the free shipping to the USA, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and most of the EU, but I think it's very effective at getting people to remember the name Tabletop Stronghold, and that means people are going to go to tabletopstronghold.com to get their hands on a Madcase 2.0 or MDF terrain. Hey, look, injuring potential customers and rampant property damage is just a cost of doing business. That is not my... Why is he looking over here? Oh God, run! I do like painting, but not so much that I want to spend all my time doing it. Having a tournament deadline does get me to paint, but even knowing that I had a tournament last September, the amount of time left to paint my remaining models kept dwindling. Instead of actually just doing some painting, I spend the time doing something else and justify to myself that I could paint that much in that time. It's only a model every week, or every few days, or a model a day, or 2 models a day. Oh God, where did the time go? With that pesky job thing out the way for the start of 2025, that should give me some more time to actually sit down and paint, especially because I have another tournament coming up in late February, which will require reinforcements for the Screaming Ravens. I also don't want to make some sort of ultimatum or specific timetable for painting, because I know for myself that having a looming deadline would just frustrate me, and I won't enjoy painting. Nor do I want to have some sort of New Year's resolution, because those are also never effective. However, I can't deny that I need something to keep me honest. For those that have been with me since the very beginning of this channel, you might remember the wheel. This was a wheel that I'd spin that would take away the need to decide what to do next and the analysis paralysis that came with it, so I could progress on something each video. That lasted 4 videos because RNG decided that out of all the possible choices, I'd land on the single Soulblight Gravelord space twice, and building the Graveguard was so terrible that it took me almost exactly 2 years to the day before they got finished because I decided to use the wheel again for a charity stream. However, I'm a stubborn idiot who doesn't learn from his mistakes, so let's try this wheel thing again. This time I'll be populating the wheel with the individual models for the Screaming Ravens that I need to do, and I'll need to complete each one before I move on to the next. Not every model would necessarily be a video, as I have other video ideas across many other things I want to make, but this will be happening in the background, and I'll be doing painting streams to try and get these models complete before the 28th of February. It's only 15 models, and if you want to attempt the same challenge with me, then I encourage you to make your own wheel of 15 models and see if you too can complete it. There'll be a discussion channel on my Discord that I'll make, and if you want more regular updates on my painting outside of videos and streams, then you can sign up to be a YouTube member or Patreon for my weekly updates, which have so far been very small because I've been doing absolutely fuck all the past few months, but I'm sure you could join these fine folk in following what I'm doing, getting some behind-the-scenes stuff, reviews of my Screaming Raven supplements codex, and more things, I'm sure, probably. You can also like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, because that really helps out as well. So thank you very much for your support. So what are these models that I want to get done? I have 6 Outriders, 5 Jump Intercessors, 3 Bladeguard, and a Judiciar to complete. The Screaming Ravens have been a lot of fun so far, and people have had some great ideas for what to do next. The 6 Outriders, which I will be playing as 2 groups of 3 for my list, I'll be painting these based on one of my favorite game series of all time, Sonic the Hedgehog. 3 of these were based on Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, Team Hero, probably mostly black and silver still. Not that silver, with nods to characters somewhere, either on the bike or the rider itself. The other 3 will be based on Shadow, Rouge, and Robotnik. I know normally Team Dark has that robot guy, whatever, but I mean, the color scheme is basically the same. And yes, it is Dr. Robotnik. I'll be deep in the cold, cold ground before I recognize Eggman. The popular idea for the Outriders was to base it on Mario Kart, which I did consider, but I think having a Mario theme on the Jump Intercessors makes a lot more sense, because Mario jumps a lot. Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, and the best character, Yoshi. Helmet stripes seem like a good place to introduce this color. I probably won't try and do any freehand lettering because I'd be terrible at it, but a shoulder pad or a weapon in their respective colors would also work quite well here. For the Bladeguard, I actually struggled with this one because the obvious choice is to make the sword and shield the primary flash of color, but I couldn't actually think of that many things that were sword and board. Link is the obvious one with the Hylian shield and Master Sword, but I could only really think of Leona from League of Legends, which is a cool color scheme. And then using popular WoW weapons like the Ashbringer or Thunder Fury with what I think is likely the most popular shield in the game, definitely one of my favorites, the Royal Crest of Lordaeron. If you have any other ideas for sword and shield users, let me know in the comments, because I have another 3 Bladeguard I'll have to get done at some point in the future. Maybe I could just do different iterations of Legend of Zelda equipment like Mirror Shield and Kokiri Shield. That might work with something being a bit more cohesive, and then, I don't know, comment down below. Finally, the Judiciar. One of the best ideas I saw was, because the Judiciars take a vow of silence, and off the battlefield, the Screaming Ravens communicate in sign language because of their gene seed flaw, meaning they can't speak without being ear-splittingly loud. You could model the Judiciar with their hands removed, and then chaplains could have mechanical hands or something. This is a great idea that actually builds upon the lore of the Screaming Ravens, which I really like. I then thought that maybe you could flip the script, and Judiciars, instead of being silent, have to be constantly making noise instead. But both of these seem somewhat slightly subtle, super smart, simple solutions, and whilst that would help flesh out the lore and the fluff of the Screaming Ravens, I had a better idea. Well, I say better idea. I had an idea, and now I can't get it out of my head, and so you're just going to have to suffer the consequences of that idea with me. Judiciars are silent but strong, agile, patient, and wise characters who let their actions and deeds speak to them and not their words. That sounds a lot like a certain other character I know. These all need putting onto a wheel, and because I can't help myself from tempting the gods of randomness and provoking Sod's Law, I've added an extra tiny slice for Soulblight Gravelords. This space will mean I'll have to do something Soulblight Gravelords related, but if I do land on it, I will never use the wheel again, because clearly the wheel is broken. I have some sort of inescapable bad luck spirit following me around at every turn. Or maybe it's just the Wheel of Nagash. Painting all of these models by the end of February will already be halfway to my total of 2024. And I have a lot of other ideas involving painting challenges, implementing painting into streams, and other things I want to complete. Maybe I'll even paint a Gunpla. Don't think I've forgotten about you Gundam fans. I have many other fun ideas I want to try for this channel as I move towards full-time tubing, so look forward to that. But without further ado, let's spin this wheel to kick off the year. Here we are, back once again with the wheel. It's been a long time since I've had to do this, but this is live recorded, so you can get my genuine reaction just in case something horrific happens. But let's spin that wheel. As you can see, the slice for the Soulblight Gravelords is tiny, and it looks like I have avoided that, fortunately. And we have... not too bad. Yoshi, I guess we're doing Jump Intercessors, so I guess I should probably build them.